Today, I want to talk about a very, very critical skill for the times that we're living in. So if you ask me what the most important skill for 2022, for this decade, what the most important skill is, life skill, that is, I would say is decision-making skills. And if you break it down a little bit more, decision making is made possible by another skill, which is problem solving skills. Now, the most unfortunate thing is that we all go through school, especially in this part of the world, and never get exposed to this very important skill. You see, because the life is a series of decisions, and the way you turn out in life would be directly proportional to the quality of decisions that you make. So if you make bad decisions, and especially for young people listening to this, so many people made bad decisions when they were teenagers, and then these bad decisions followed them, through life. In my first book, I told the very sad story of a young, very pretty young girl that I met in the market. It was in the K2 market. So this brilliant girl, from the way she answered me, she was selling tomatoes and peppers, perhaps for her mother, in the market store there. And I asked this young girl, why are you here at this time of the day? You should be in school. And she dropped her face. But for many young people who know me, once I start asking that kind of question, I don't stop. The other day, that's how I met another young girl. She's probably like 20, 19, between 19 and 21. And she was at a pump, pumping gas for a living. That's what she does now. So when I asked her name, she told me she was Lillian. And I said, so Lillian, what goals do you have for your life? And the question startled her. It's like she's never considered that before. It's like nobody had ever asked her that kind of question. And which is really sad. There are children who go through nursery, primary school, secondary school, and no teacher and nobody ever asked them to set goals. Because goal setting is basic. Everybody should know. Pardon my using should, but I think that's one of the rare times I would use should. Should know how to set goals, for their lives. She was staring at me blankly. She didn't know what goes well or, why she should set goals. So I helped her. I said, okay, so where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Still no answer. And so I now volunteered to get married. She said, yes, sir, to get married. And what a terrible goal, to have, for a 19-year-old. So this girl at the market, I asked her. So I kept on pressing to know why she was there at that time of the day. She had this brilliant accent, phonetics, and everything. Spoke very well. After I stood and pressed her for a long time, she said, sir, I got pregnant. So apparently she got pregnant in her SS1. That just tells you how young, that girl was in her SS1. And then she had to drop out of school. And then, of course, after she had her baby, she never went back to school because of the embarrassment, because of the stigma and all that. Actually, I encouraged her to go back, because you can still go back to school at 30 to secondary school. Nothing stops you going back to school at 45, at 50, if you want to. So when you make bad decisions early in life, it can change the trajectory of your life. And this is why coaching and mentorship are very important, because the young people are at a stage where they need guidance. And then if you're a young person listening to me, you really want to be sure that you are in an environment that can support you to grow, that you are an environment not just of your peer, of your people, the people your age group and things like that, but you are in an environment, where people can challenge you, where older people and more successful people can ask you questions, challenge you to grow. Okay, so that sounded like a digression, but is still part of the subject of conversation, that we go through school and never learning this most important skill in life, that is problem-solving skills and decision-making skills. And so I'm trying to remember the name of a gentleman who wrote, his name is dancing in my mind right now, who wrote Tough Times Last, but tough times never last, but tough people do. Now, the only reason that tough people outlast tough times, only reason is that they solved problems. Okay? Is that they solved problems. They solved the problems that they encountered during the tough time. And maybe another reason is that they had endurance, they were able to endure. Now, so what is problem solving skill? Just like the compound word implies, there are problems all around us. Like today, there are so many problems. People are having economic problems. The prices of things have gone up. Life is very challenging. Right now in Nigeria, many young people are at home because the universities have been closed for getting to 5 or 6 months now. So these are problems. And then if you're in relationship, there are challenges, problems in relationships. Married people, families do have financial problems. Sometimes they have emotional problems. Sometimes, they have in-law problems. Sometimes they have problems relating to their differences in their backgrounds and also in their personalities. Everybody has problems. Even a little baby born today has a problem. That's why it cries. That's why he or she cries, all the time. And again, unfortunately, the only way most people in this part of the world know to solve problems is, especially financial problems, is to call somebody and then beg for money. And so for a lot of people, the only problem-solving skill they have when they have financial difficulties, for instance, is to pick up their phone and scroll through their contacts for an uncle or an aunt or a friend or somebody that can ask for money. And there are people who live like this. They just, every single day, they've been having perpetual financial problems, not just for 1 year, for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. I know someone who has had financial troubles for 30 years. 30 years. Up to today, whenever he calls me, it is to ask for money. He's married, he's a father, he's actually older than me, but that because he never developed the skills to solve financial problems. By the way, on the 23rd to 27th of August, we'll be doing the 5 Days of Abundance Challenge, and one of the things I'm going to be taking you through is, how to solve money problems, how to solve financial problems. And so for a lot of people, it's either to call somebody, and then for other people, it's to pray. Okay? Yeah, it's okay to pray because the scriptures encourage us to pray. And then one hymn writer says, it's a privilege to take everything to God in prayer. But you see, it doesn't end in prayer. That's why you find that, you know, and then somebody might find this controversial, or they'll fight it. But the poorest people are all these the masses, you know, who attend all these, you know, big church programs and then camps. They are always in one camp or the other. And then many of them have been, I met a woman who had been through, in her own words, she'd been like through 12 churches looking for deliverance. You know, so for a lot of people, that's the only problem solving skill that they have. You know, they go around looking for prophets, for pastors and people who will lay hands on them, pour oil on them, or do something magical. Like she told me, she was in a particular place where they had to bathe her, give her a bath by the river, you know, or to solve problems. So a lot of people apply religion. Religion is the only problem solving skill they have. And then I'm asking, how is that working for you? Do you stop to actually ask questions? Which reminds me, a couple of years ago, I went to consult for a gentleman who is into mining. And then we went to one remote location, a very remote village in Ogun State, you know, where they were doing, where there were some quarries and all that. So someone was trying to develop a quarry there. And then he wanted this gentleman who was my friend, you know, and myself to come, you know, do some studies and then prepare proposals and things. Now, that place was so remote and it was forested, because at some point we had to stop his SUV somewhere and then use leg. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story is that when we got into that very, very remote forest, I was shocked to see Chinese people with a massive quarry in that place in Ogun State. Massive quarry, you know. And so the funny thing that happened that day was, okay, so after we finished, we started coming back, and we drove through the Redeemed camp, you know, along the express road. Usually when they have programs, you have like 1 million, 2 million, or even more people, you know, in that place, you know, praying, you know, begging God to solve problems for them. Now, so my friend said something that I've never forgotten. He just said, "Oh, but look at, we just came from a place in the bush where the Chinese are there picking millions of dollars every single day from our own forest. But you see what our people are there doing? They are there shouting, Oluwa dide, Oluwa bo, Oluwa dide, Oluwa bo." You know, so they are there praying. But somebody is actually there solving the financial problem. And they are telling God, "God arise, God arise, God hear me, oh hear me," and things like that. So for a lot of people in this part of the world, that is how much they know when it comes to problem solving. And of course, there are also the third way people try to solve problems in this part of the world. That is, in addition to looking for some uncle or some politician or somebody that they can call that will solve their problems, then religion, trying to use religion. The third way is people actually go to unorthodox means, you know. They go to consult spirits, they go to consult what we call the native doctors and witch doctors to prepare a charm, you know, for them that could help them get a man or get a girl. Do you know, even something as simple as that problem of going to propose to a girl, some men need a charm to be able to do that. They need a witch doctor to, you know, for them to go find a girl to marry. And then some women also go to these witch doctors to prepare things for them that they will drink or that they will give a man, and then they solve their marriage problems. People also typically go to meet those people when they have health challenges, like they haven't had children for some time, you know. And then my question is, how is that working, you know, for you? So I'm going to be continuing this conversation on problem solving. I don't want to keep it too long. This is getting into the 15th minute. But I want you to think about this background. I'm going to do a series 2 on problem solving, because this is the most important skill for the times that we're living in. If you can't solve your problems, you're going. You know, the times, see, people who can't solve their problems, the tough times will injure them. And sometimes tough times eliminates people who are too weak. So it's either you are injured in some way by the tough times, because I can see when I look around, look at the streets, I see so many people being injured by the tough times. Or it can even take you away. So tell me what you think, about this series, and tell me what you know about problem solving and how the people in Nigeria, in Africa, try to solve problems. I've mentioned these 3 ways, and then the question is, does it work? You're either looking for somebody to call to come and save you, or you're using religion and prayer to try to solve problems, or you're using witch doctors, who prepare charms and things, like that, to come and to give you, to cook you, to give you supernatural power and advantage, so you become a super person, and then you can do things. And then the question is, how is that working, for you? All right. So, but whatever happens, keep showing up, because you have no idea what's coming your way next. I guarantee you. And I'll talk to you again very soon. Bye for now.